Well, we knew we were close to lambing. I thought maybe next week, beginning of next week. So we're pretty spot on, which means now all your checks on your sites are going to take a little bit longer. This mama dropped it right in front of us, essentially. So it was kind of crazy to be thinking about, because we were like, oh, I know that they should be lambing soon. Let's make sure that they have everything that they need. And we were like, oh, that group's kind of acting weird. And then, plop, there goes baby. And I think she's just going to be a single. We've sat here for probably 30 or so minutes now, and she had already passed the water bag and everything like that. So I don't think anything else is coming with that. And they're up and they're walking, and she's got her baby walking around. I didn't get to see what it is, if it's a boy or girl. The guardian dogs already came through and ate the placenta and stuff, so that's cleaned up. The 2 dogs that I have here, I'm really confident with lambing, because they're very good at keeping space away from the mama, making sure she's comfortable, keeping birds away, keeping anything else that's coming in and out away, cleaning up. So I feel pretty good about this group. We've got them in a paddock right now that we feel pretty confident in them lambing in. It just means that we'll likely have to bring some hay here. The good news is, because we're lambing ahead of the spring flush, so we shouldn't get behind on anything. One of the things that we always tell everybody is, remember that we are a service industry, so our goal and our job is to keep the forage down on site, and in order to do that, we have to keep moving and rotating. So we go pretty fast through the sites. We rotate. We're obviously thinking about animal health as well as soil health. We're clipping the top thirds as we go through. So if it's not weekly, it's 2 times a week that they're being moved, just to kind of keep ahead of the grasses and things like that. It's just a weird time of year. So any shepherds out there, or cattlemen even, we've had these really weird temperature flows. And so one of the things that's concerning to us, and that we've been keeping an eye on, is it went from warm to cold to warm to cold. And within that, we had some really good grasses grow, but then obviously they got nipped by the frost that we had for probably about 2 weeks. So we're obviously watching the forage. We're making sure that they have all the mineral and everything that they would need for that. And also putting out hay. Now, they may or may not eat it, but at least they have that dry forage to go through with their gut to try to prevent the bloat. So if you are not familiar with it, really, they can get bloat quite quickly this time of year. Springtime can be really hard, and coming into springtime can be really hard, because they've gone from those dry forages to now lush. And this lush pasture can basically build up gases in their belly, and then if it has nowhere to go, it's very sad. So it's definitely something that we keep an eye on, try to make sure that they have basically like baking soda. I'm sorry, I'm drawing a blank on the name of the actual scientific name of it. But, they basically have that substance in case they start to feel like that. It's no different than you popping a Tums or something when your tummy's upset. Sheep are amazing animals, and they really do a good job of self-medicating. So we make sure that they have the tools that they need to self-medicate, and then they kind of take care of the rest of that. But yeah, that mama's up. She's gone now. She's all the way over there, baby in tow. So I imagine that we've already got some other mamas trying to talk and steal the baby. So I imagine we're going to start dropping. It's going to be a busy week. And that's just this site. So we'll see. We do expect the other sites to start lambing kind of within the same time frame. The goal is to get a lot of our lambing going before spring flush, so that those babies are on the ground able to do the moves that we need them to do, and the mamas are willing to do the moves. Between the guardian dogs, like I said, we've got really good guardian dogs that have been through lambing before. And then what we'll do is we'll be a little more selective about the collies going out. They all do pretty well with smaller ones. Like you've seen Trip work, where Marcus is trying to get some of the smaller ones to move. And they don't want to go after the little guys. So they'll wait and stay further back. I've noticed, so Trip does a really good job. That Colt does a really good job with that. We're going to obviously see how Kimber does with it. Dot is a little bit still kind of like in the puppy phase of things. So she's a little bit too into it. And so what we'll do a lot with Dot during lambing is we'll work her on the leash And then Kit does pretty well as well. So we've got good dogs that can move the flocks with the younger ones involved. We've got the guardian dogs that clean up, take care, and keep everything out of the way. So excited to be starting lambing. Lamb Watch 2025 is in full effect. Well, speaking of forage, Blaze and I just rolled this bale out. Right, Blaze?
Right.
All around. So I just try to give them something drier to mix in with everything they're doing. So we've got it up to there and then came back down to there. So it's supposed to rain tomorrow. It's supposed to rain this weekend, I guess. So we wanted to put it in the driest spot. This paddock, this paddock is a cusp like this, and everything drains that way. So when it starts to get wet, the sheep will come up this way for sure. And we've got this now. You know, one of the things we always talk about is like best laid plans. You know, you come up with a day, you go, I'm gonna go see this farm, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do this farm, I'm gonna do this. Well, with everything today that's happened so far, I won't get to the third farm that I wanted to get to, which is okay because Marcus and the other team members went to the other farm. So the 3 that we currently have sheep on right now, of our 6, got seen today, which is nice. And then of course the choring at the house and everything like that all got done. But so instead of being able to get to the other farm again, what I'm gonna have to do is we'll have to stop at the feed store and get some extra stuff that I want to get to be able to bring back to this farm, the one that we were just on, tomorrow, because the goal was to move them tomorrow, but I just don't think that we're going to move them. Maybe we will, maybe we're not in the lambing boom yet, maybe it's just a very, very tip. So we'll just have to play that by ear, but I just want to make sure that they have some other stuff that they're going to need. We also have some booster vaccinations for the dogs tomorrow too, so that'll be coming out. I don't know what everybody else is using for their livestock guardian dogs, but with our vet, we've talked a lot about, you know, what it's like on these sites and what our expectations of the dogs and what they're being exposed to. And for heartworms, we're using a product called ProHeart. And the reason I went with that, even though it's a little more expensive than some of the other opportunities that are out there, is because it's a once a year thing. So it's not as much wrangle, it's not as much trouble. And I've talked to everybody about it before. One of the things that we do a little bit differently than some people is, you know, we're lucky enough that our vet goes to our dogs, so we don't have to, you know, put them in the truck and deal with all of that. So right now, it just makes it easier. So we do the ProHeart for them. And then for the fleas and ticks and all that kind of stuff, they're on the that little chewy thing that's like 3 months at a time. I cannot remember what that's called right now. And then of course they all have their vaccinations and everything. And one of the things that our vet does a really great job of, and I absolutely love, is that when she's on site for the sheep, she always checks the dogs too. So we're always in the loop with what's going on with not just the sheep, but with their protectors, the dogs. And that goes for the collies as well. So the collies are also on ProHeart. The collies are also taking that flea and tick medication. The collies are also up to date on all their vaccinations and things like that. Now, some people were like, well, what happens if, because it's you know, our vet comes to us and it's kind of that relationship, and I can call her, I have telehealth with her for our animals and things like that. But if we do have an animal emergency with the dogs, we actually take them to the clinic in town. So yeah, so we're headed to the feed store.